Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a beastly 2021 redesign of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Chronograph 42mm. The original dial design from 1993 is back, and of course the 42 is the original case size. We've also got a return to the polymer shoulders for the crown as well as caps for the chronograph pushers. We've gone away from the more modern ceramic back to the original style. This watch is awe-inspiring. The heft of it, you simply can't believe it's gold. It feels like platinum. It's impressive in every way. 42 millimeters in diameter. The watch measures 15.3 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. The case itself, if we're talking just the case, is 53.7 millimeters, but you can see how I can't pull the bracelet down all the way, so I measure from these intermediate links outward, and so the total distance across the wrist is going to be a beefy 58.6 millimeters, which is why I recommend you think of this watch as a 44 or even a 45 in diameter. It wears that way. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it as a large timepiece. Now, you probably could wear this watch on the accessory strap on a 15 centimeter circumference wrist, and take note, this watch does come with a blue accessory rubber AP strap and a clasp to match, but on the strap, if it'll work on a 15 centimeter circumference wrist, the bracelet requires you have a wrist at least my size, 16 centimeters circumference, because this is an incredibly broad watch. It's maybe not as thick as you'd expect, so it's got that going for it, but the flare created by the rigidity of the bracelet means this really is the bare wrist size to wear the watch with any kind of stability and sense of proportion. Now, jumping to the bracelet, I should show you something that's new here. What use is an accessory strap if you can't change on the fly? So the watch comes with a quick release system. Sometimes you need a little bit more nail than I have to operate that quick release, but the watch comes with a quick release system that allows you to easily remove the bracelet and strap and vice versa. And of course, you can fit them quite easily. It works like a seatbelt buckle system. You press these little triggers underneath, then you insert the ends into the plots, the intermediate links, and it locks back into place. So that's a wonderful system, and again, it does come with a blue accessory strap and a clasp for that strap. So on the strap, you can wear it on a slightly smaller wrist than when it's on the bracelet. Taking a look, everything is beautifully made. The bracelet is overwhelming. The feel of this watch, it really is something else. And you can see that the bracelet's nicely made with removable links fixed by screws. You can also see the finish is superb. Bracelets on Royal Oaks and Offshores take about 9 to 11 hours to hand finish, and you could see why. The detailing, especially this little bevel that runs down the shoulders, or the polishing on the inner faces of the plots, the satination that continues perfectly along the side, the vertical satination on the sides. Really, there's a lot of detail, and you notice a little bit more every time you handle the watch. Now, we have a double deploying clasp with a twin trigger release system. It is a sequential close. The AP side closes second. AP making its own cases and its own clasps. It's a complete manufacture. You can see the case is just as finely finished. A manual get designed the original Royal Oak Offshore as an exercise to celebrate 20 years of the original Royal Oak, and it came to market in 1993. Of course, Gerald Genta designed the original Royal Oak in 1972. There are elements of the Genta original, but Get wanted to create a more modern watch, a much more bombastic contemporary statement of the sports watch, because even by 1992, the Royal Oak was starting to seem a little bit like a sporty dress watch. So here we have a screw-down crown, we have a huge expressed bezel gasket that's fully visible, we have 100-meter water resistance, we have bolts in the bezel that here are hexagonal and steel, and you can see there's a hexagonal shoulder in polymer around the crown to match. Now, on a regular Royal Oak, those bolts are gold. On a offshore, they're steel. And the bezel itself is a rounded octagon inspired by a vintage diving helmet. My favorite feature of this watch isn't so much that it goes back to the tri-register layout of the original Royal Oak Offshore. It's the fact that AP went back to the Petite Tapisserie dial, which is the same small pantograph cut hobnail featured on the Royal Oak Jumbos. For a long time, the Royal Oak Offshores used stamped stamped Petite Tapisserie dials that were, well, exactly that. They were stamped rather than cut on a pantograph. By going back to the original dial design, AP has re-implemented the artisanal cut dial, and I'm happy to see that. We have rose gold applique blob style indices and baton style hands. We'll do a quick loom shot here. As you can see, there is plenty of loom. The watch includes a tachymeter scale outboard in brushed metallic blue, and we have sub-registers that have both inner and outer polished rose gold chapterings. They are each a matte rose gold. The timepiece features a date that's now flush to the dial rather than sunken because the movement is now fully integrated and in-house. It's no longer a modular chronograph. We have a chronograph inside that includes a few refinements that you'll like to have. One is a flyback action. It's a flyback chronograph, reset, restart, all of that with a single push of the trigger down at 4 o'clock. And we also have a hacking seconds system, so if you want to stop the movement, you can do that pretty easily. And if you want to quick set the date, you can easily do that as well. The intermediate position has a quick set. I don't know how well you can see this, but Audemars Piguet uses a deliciously serify font for that matching date wheel. Okay, turn it over to the case back. We talked a little bit about the quick release system, so I'm gonna attempt to dismount this bracelet in its entirety and show you the movement. Okay, so this is Audemars Piguet, caliber 4404. It's based on the chronograph movement that debuted in 2019 on the code 1159. The movement is better sized to fit the case back, so it fills up the case back, and it's about 32 millimeters in diameter compared to 26.6 for the older AP caliber 3126 in the older offshore. So that was a much smaller movement. This is 32, that was 26.6, so this better fills the display case back. It's also got a longer power reserve. Power reserve goes from 50 hours on the caliber 3126. This is actually right here 65 to 70 hours of power reserve, which is quite impressive. It's got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. It has a rotor bearing for the same reason, and there are high efficiency ceramic bearings inside the rotor. The watch beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The 3126 was a 3 hertz beat rate. This is a 4 hertz beat rate, making the watch potentially more accurate through wear and tear on the wrist. The more the watch is worn, the better it will keep time with a higher beat rate. Now you can see there's an invisible vertical clutch. This is something you almost never see on a vertical clutch type chronograph. You can see the black polished column wheel. So it's a column wheel with a vertical clutch, which means with the column wheel you get a very crisp action when you start up the chronograph. You feel that well, you hear it. There's a nice satisfying report and a tactile quality that marks this as a column wheel. Because of the vertical clutch, there is no jump or stagger when you start the chronograph. And also because of the vertical clutch, there's no additional wear and tear, so you can leave the thing running full-time if you just like to have a chrono seconds hand going full-time. The movement is 40 joules in a combination of hand finish and machine finish, which is appropriate given the price point of this watch and quite common in high horology at this price point. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.